What is up, everybody? I have no idea why that switched, but who cares? Today, we are here with a man who knows his whiskey. He's a Twitch streamer at Drama King Matt, and maybe the most intelligent man in any wrestling locker room. We are here with Matt Rehwoldt. How you doing today, sir?
That is a bold claim that you just made there. I mean, I appreciate the confidence, but that is a bold claim.
I'm going to, we're just going to start with it then. So last week or the week earlier, Miro came on here and told us that you learned the national anthem in less than 24 hours, sang it on national TV, or I should say worldwide TV. Is this true or false?
100% true. I mean, to be fair, it was probably closer to about 36 hours, but needless to say, yeah, in very short notice, I learned another country's national anthem in its native language. And may I add, in the meantime, while I was doing that, had to secure a fitted tuxedo to be worn on television because they did not provide that to me. I had to find that myself.
So I think right there should your claim as the most intelligent man in the locker room is proven. I don't think any other person can do that.
Willing to do what it takes to get it done. Absolutely.
All right, we're going to hop right into this. We'll say hi. She's at work, so we'll say hi to her first. Ty, what's up?
Oh my God.
Hello. How are you?
Oh my God. I'm so nervous, but I'm like so excited though.
Oh, please. It just hangs. It's just chats.
Oh my gosh. Like, let me first say, like, I'm like super excited about this because like, I think like maybe about a year ago, I got to meet Simon and I was like, oh my gosh, when am I ever going to meet Aiden? But it's freaking happening.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. So like, my question is in regards to that, like with the whole like vaudevillain thing, like what was the inspiration behind that and like who came up with that?
It's a fun, strange, weird little story. Like it's kind of a collaborative thing. And I feel like Simon's told the same thing, but we didn't know each other too well. He had just gotten to the PC. He was doing all that Rosebud stuff with Adam Rose at the time. He was in the 20s swimmer outfit. You remember? Oh my God. Yeah, he was on Raw and with Becky Lynch and Becky Lynch and Braun Strowman were Rosebuds.
Yes,
Let's never forget that. Ever, ever, ever. And she was wearing blue like goo coming out of her hair. It was awesome.
Oh
two of the biggest stars in the business were Rosebuds. Anyway, and so I guess at some NXT taping, this is according to our coaches at the Performance Center. Hunter, they were looking for the next thing for me, and Simon was newer, and apparently Triple H kind of saw him because Simon always dressed in his bow tie and his mustache and everything. And he's like, those two, some kind of weird sideshow act or something with those two. I'm like, and maybe there's something there. Yeah, and so they all ran to us the next day at the PC, and we're just like, he wants to see a tag team. Come up with an idea. Something about old-timey stuff. Go. So like again, God. Yeah, we didn't really know each other that well, and so we're like, all right, like I know you do your strongman thing. I've got this theater thing, some kind of sideshow vaudeville, and then I went home and it was just like vaudeville. I figure we're gonna be bad guys because I'm always a bad guy.
Yes.
So it was like vaudeville, vaudevillain. That's corny, right? I'm like, that was try number one. I'm like, we'll throw that out there first, and they're like, we love it. Let's do it. I'm like, okay. And we just started coming up with promos and vignettes and stuff like that, and off it went.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that.
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy, just like come together and make some magic happen, but we did some way somehow.
It worked though, because I was like, oh my gosh, I like these guys so much, and I can't believe I got to meet both of them.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I'm glad you did. Thank you so much.
Oh, and by the way, I'm wearing the vaudevillain shirt. You can't really see it because I'm at work, but I'm wearing the vaudevillain shirt.
Hell yeah. I have to say, and it's hanging up on my wall too. And I've gotten a lot of people to tell me this. One of the best NXT, if not overall, like WWE shirts with that old, it's like that. It was different color with beige. Yes. Everybody's black. Beige looks like the old poster. I think it is one of the better T-shirts they've ever made.
Yes, it is, and I love it. Oh my gosh.
I'm so glad. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for this. This is like
Absolutely.
so
Thank you for
awesome.
taking your break to hang out.
No, I
Thanks,
was
Ty.
mega excited about this.
Absolutely. So good to
Thank you
meet
so
you.
much. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ty.
Bye.
Next, we'll say hi to Hector. What's up, Hector?
Hi, how are you, man? Thank you for taking the
Hell
time.
yeah, man. Thank you for coming out. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
my question was, you went to college not too far from where I live, Columbia College,
Yeah,
and from what I understand, that you majored in theater.
that's right.
So, my question was, how did you take that into your wrestling career? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but most of that Rusev based stuff was all like theater. So, how did you take that into your wrestling career?
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's a great question. I mean, wrestling, like pro wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. I mean, God, it's rooted really in old theater, if you really think about it. I mean, we're talking about the old days. I don't want to get too like heady here, but like the old days of Greek theater were done, in the arena setting, out to crowds that were up in stanchions. And I mean, like, so we're just kind of doing old school theater, but we're just punching each other in the face along the way. So for me, it's about finding and rooting yourself in a character. A lot of it was honestly just the confidence to perform in front of audiences and know a character inside and out. And I mean, luckily in wrestling, we kind of get to play around with inventing our own characters as opposed to picking up a piece of paper and having to become somebody else's character. We can kind of bring ourselves to it, which is very helpful. But yeah, the world of theater and Columbia, I loved my experience at Columbia. The teachers were great, the staff was great, facilities were awesome. And but yeah, it's just that confidence, being able to know who you are as a character, as a persona, and being able to emit that both just in a physical sense, but in an emotional sense as well. Those are the biggest tools that I brought with me.
That's great. And I just wanted to kind of ask you, what are you doing in your post WWE career?
I mean, obviously, with the world in this kind of crazy state it's in right now, it's a little tough. So, I mean, I've been doing Twitch streaming. I've got my Wrestling with Whiskey kind of side project where I've started a single barrel club there. I've got another Instagram account and everything there. Just did some work with this a whiskey company in Kentucky. So it's a lot of little private. I've got my hands in kind of a million other things, but hopefully, if the world, like I said, can kind of clean things up, we can all kind of get back together soon. Some more wrestling stuff. I'd like to get into the esports kind of thing, maybe commentary and getting involved with things like that. But my goal here now that I'm kind of out in the world, is to kind of spread myself not too thin, but to I want to try so many different things. So I'm trying to do different things.
That's great. Thank you for the time. And if you could just do me one favor, the reason that I know so much about you is because one of my best friends, his name is Mark Schreiner. He's a big fan of yours, and we talk about you all the time. He's a Columbia College alum. If you could just give him a shout out for me.
Yeah, Mark, man, absolutely. I appreciate you being a fan, fellow Columbia College, Chicago alum. Great place. You made a wise choice, my friend. But thank you so much for being a fan, and I appreciate you.
All right, thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks.
Take care, Hector.
Matt, usually we have an intro. I didn't upload today, so I'm gonna hop off the screen, and our little buddy Steven's gonna come on and ask you a couple questions.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, there he is. What's up, Steven?
Hey, so,
Hey,
hey Matt,
what's
thank
going
you
on?
so much for doing this. It means so much to me. Thank you so much.
Oh, man, no, thank you for coming and hanging out. I appreciate you.
You want to know what the weird thing is?
What?
I just want to say something. I only have one of your figures. I can't find it anywhere since you left the WWE.
Boo. That's boo. There's that one, and then there's the Elite figure. That's the coolest one in my
I
opinion.
collect the elites and
Yes. I've seen them pop up. Target seems to be the place they pop up the most.
not in Canada. We live in Canada.
Oh, boo. Good. I don't know what stores it would be in Canada.
Okay. Oh, and I wanted to tell you what day it was.
Oh.
Today is Rusev Day.
Every single day, buddy. Every single day. Beautiful. Better than I could ever do it.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
I'm a huge fan of Xavier Woods. What was your favorite moment and game you played on his channel? Up, up, down, down.
Yes. So
Moment
there's
and
two.
game.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's two. One, we played. There's this game, and I've played it actually with at home too on my own stream. Is called Nidhogg. It's this really like weird. It looks like a very old video game, but it's new. It's side scrolling, and you're trying to like beat each other to the other side of the map. It's so frustrating when you're competing against people, but it's so funny to do with a bunch of friends. And then also with Up, Up, Down, Down, I got to play, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, Dungeons and Dragons.
No, I did not. The only game that's like Dungeons and Dragons that pretty much I've beaten until I get the PS5, and I beat the one I just have in my hand is Uncharted.
Okay.
I've beaten all 4 of the other Uncharted, but the girl one I haven't beaten yet. I just
Okay.
got
Well,
it.
that you got to get on it then. You know, you want to hear a fun fact? So in that Uncharted, the one you just held up, that's with the 2 women, right? A friend of mine does the voice of the bad guy in that video game. Yeah, one of my really good friends.
If I meet you, I'm getting you to sign it.
even though I'm not in it, but I'll sign it for my buddy. Absolutely.
Okay, second question. What was your favorite match that you fought with Rusev?
So this is tough because we did a lot of really awesome stuff.
One.
I ain't okay. Okay. But out of all the matches we had together, I always tell people one of my favorite matches I was ever in was it's a fatal 4-way tag team championship match from Clash of Champions 2017. That's when we sang the 12 Days of Rusev before the match. And then it was with the New Day, the Usos, and Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. And it was just action packed. I think everybody got to get highlighted, and there was a bunch of action and everything like that. And it was so much fun for me to be a part of.
Okay, one thing I gotta say is thank you for telling me that because I wasn't a big fan of wrestling in 2017. I started in the end of 2017, the end.
Okay.
Because I had 2 brain surgeries, so actually wrestling saved my life, especially John Cena, because I had my first brain surgery, so I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't play with trampolines, bouncy castles, so I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then so a video popped up on my tablet with John Cena saying, never give up. So I never gave up, and now look where I am.
That's amazing.
With at least 1,000 wrestlers behind me.
No, see, I love to hear things like that. That's so great. And that's, you know what? That's why we do it. We want to entertain, inspire, and give people like you a reason to feel fired up, to feel charged up, to feel like they don't have to give up and they can do something and overcome things like that. That makes me so happy to hear, buddy.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you.
Third question. If you could own any piece of wrestling memorabilia that was not yours that you own or your wrestling memorabilia, what would it be? And why?
That is that's a really good question. So I've been to the WWE warehouse in Connecticut, and I've gotten to see they keep everything there. They've got every casket the Undertaker has ever used, every WrestleMania sign, every prop, everything. So for me, this is gonna be a weird one. But so I don't know if you know. So my wife, her father, was Eddie Guerrero. Yes. So
Can you hook me up with an autograph?
What's that?
Can you hook me up with an autograph?
I mean, he passed away.
Yeah.
But I'm obviously a huge fan of him. But then I have the family connection. So I've seen it there. There's a bull rope from a match that him and JBL, if you remember JBL, had a match, and I was one of my favorite matches. So that would be the bull rope from the match that they had would be probably the memorabilia that I would love to have more than anything else.
Good. I would wish to have that too. Oh,
I bet.
One more thing. Next week, Golder, my house number is we live in Toronto. Can you hook me up an Undertaker casket?
What's that?
Can you hook me up an Undertaker casket?
If I could do it at all, I'd hook myself up with one. I think the shipping might be a little too much to get to Canada. It's pretty expensive to ship a casket.
Thank you. Okay, last question. What's next for you?
I mean, that's the big question, man. I mean, like right now I do a lot of like Twitch streaming. I got some side projects going on, but I mean, I'm looking for the next opportunity in wrestling. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but as they always say in professional wrestling, man, never say never. So the opportunity is out there. I'm waiting for the next one.
Here's something that I can make an agreement with you. Can you please go to Impact Wrestling so I can meet you?
Hey.
I'll bring my game.
Well, hey, if they're doing stuff in Canada, you tell them to call me. you probably have a better end than I do.
Thank you. Once again, thank you so much, Matt. It means a lot to me to spend the time to do this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And once again, today, every day, and today is Rusev Day.
Oh, thank you, Steven, so much. You made my night.
Thanks, Steven.
Thank you so much.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Matt, speaking of Rusev Day, obviously, what was your first reaction when they came to you and like we're splitting this up? And really, like, to no one's benefit, they did that as well.
Yeah. To get candidates sucked. You know what I mean? I think we both, everyone involved felt like there was a lot more meat on the bone, so to speak, and so much more we could have done. We were trying to do it almost a year earlier. Like, okay, we went through all this stuff. I'm like, why can't they kept forcing us as heels, but I'm like, I feel like we could at least try a babyface run as like a tag team or as a unit or something to see what we could get out of it. And yeah, I think it was a bit of like it was kind of like, but you know, the powers that be want what they want or don't want what they don't want. And we both, all three of us actually felt like there was so much more we could do. And so then after that, it was like, all right, well, if we're going to do it, because, you know, the boss is the boss, which I totally understand. But if we're going to do it, let's do it to benefit both parties. Let's make a good split, a good story, elevate both people coming out of it. But nope, 30 seconds of TV time and one match and goodbye. And yeah, that no other way. It sucked.
Yeah, it was quite a. They do it often too. It seems like just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, if there's something, it's like something craw gets in. Whoever's pulling the strings or making the decision is just like, let's just get it done now and move on or whatever. And there's just no care for. Again, it doesn't have to be some 6-month epic or whatever, but just a little bit of care. Give yourselves a couple of weeks, some storytelling. And then you can move on. It's a little bit of a haphazard way to handle it.
For sure. We got a few more for you. We'll say hi to, his name's John, but he comes up as Mr. WWE fan. What's up, brother?
What's up?
Hey.
Happy Rusev Day.
Every day.
Yes. I got 2 questions.
Okay.
If you were in WWE right now, would you have a match against the Gobbler Gooker?
I mean, hell yes. Are you kidding me? That would have to be the most fun match of my career. To wrestle a turkey, especially at Thanksgiving time? Absolutely. Yes, please. Somebody
He returned last night at Survivor Series.
I've heard.
And question for you. Like any matches against Carmella? Like, can you tell a story about Carmella?
I mean, so, I didn't have any matches against her because, you know, but no, she is awesome. I hung out a lot with her in NXT. NXT was a tight very tight knit group. So like when her, Enzo, and Cass were a thing, obviously
Yes.
as the Vaudevillains, we wrestled those guys all over the country in NXT and part of that. So we were always doing stuff with her. She is a hustler. She is a better, and I think she's just now starting to get her like just desserts, I think, a little bit. She has busted her ass. She came from a different world, and so a lot of people were skeptical, but she worked her ass off, proved herself, and I think she's got her best days ahead of her for sure.
And I met your wife.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go. Absolutely.
Yep. I hope she's watching right now. Do you think she is?
No, she's working on something in the other side
And
of the house.
I made a comment on today's. I wrote, "Happy Rusev Day."
Nice. Every day, brother.
Thanks, John.
Yes. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, man.
We will we'll say hi to Alex. What's up, Alex?
Hello, hey.
Hey, what's going on, Alex?
Coming from Cleveland, man.
Hell yeah.
So I first of all, I just wanted to say, I really appreciate you being in WWE because you have such like a unique background. You know, like you bring something to the table that you don't see too many wrestlers do. You know, I was looking into some of your background, and I really had a big question of that of a play that you did called "The Destiny of Chad Deity" about pro wrestling. Could you kind of go into that a little bit more?
Yeah, the elaborate entrance of Chad Deity was very cool. It was one of the first, I think so, one of the first projects I did out of college. So the way I was introduced to it, honestly, was I did fight choreography, like sword fighting and all that stuff in college. And my mentor and teacher was like, "Hey, I got contacted to do fight choreography for this pro wrestling play." He's like, "I don't know anything about pro wrestling unless it has a sword in it." She's like, "I know you're big into that. You know a lot about it." He goes, "Do you want to help me with it?" So I said, "Sure, that sounds cool." And I got introduced to the writer, Chris Diaz. He's from New York. He's a fantastic writer. And there's an awesome cast, which included, there's a guy named Usman Ali, who has now gone on to great success in Hollywood. He's on the show Suits. He's on the show on a series of unfortunate events. He's the guy with the hook hand.
Oh.
He's been in video games and stuff. He's had a great career, but it's a play. It's a little bit of a satire about pro wrestling, but also like the world at large. It kind of spoofs WWE and talks a lot about how there's often the big jacked up wrestler who's not as talented as the smaller athletic guy, but they always push that guy, and it's all about money and stuff like that. But it's also as a kind of a reflection of like kind of how our world works in general, that sometimes the most talented people get overlooked in pushing, someone who's got the right look or the right fit or whatever. And it's all about making that money, and who cares about the little people on the bottom and stuff. And it makes some great points about like race and culture. And so it takes wrestling as this microcosm. Sorry, again, I get so nerdy about this stuff. But then that's like the setting, but it's this microcosm for like the whole world and society. If it ever comes up, it does show up in some small theaters around the country now. But if you ever can look up a reading of it on YouTube or anything, it's a really great play.
I had one other question. With this trend of cinematic matches, like what's your take on that? And like, I'm eager to like see some of your ideas on what you'd like to do, like in a cinematic match.
I've not thought about it for myself, because what I love about it is that it's malleable to any situation. You know what I mean? That's the advantage to it. I think it's good. There's, at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to always appreciate and prefer a classic wrestling match, and I think that's the pinnacle of pro wrestling. There's a one-on-one pro wrestling match. But that being said, I think there's 100% a place for these things going forward, because it allows so much more creativity. And when I saw WWE doing it, who were kind of like, I don't want to say like the last holdout, but they're very traditional. They're very, to see them doing it is like, okay, if they're doing it, everyone will be doing it. And it's finally accepting pro wrestling as an art in addition to this like sport thing that we've always kind of portrayed it as. And even though the curtain's been dropped and we tell everybody how it, it's a fixed work and everything like that, to do things like that is to show truly how creative you can make it. So I love the idea of it. For me, I don't know. I guess for Aiden, especially like the old Aiden English character, have like some kind of cinematic like Broadway showdown in a theater with like props from different plays or something like that. You got the Yorick skull from Shakespeare that you crack over someone's head. All kinds of like prop weapons or things like that. I mean, drop a sandbag on someone from the upper decks, things like that. I think there would have been tons of material there.
All right. Thank you so much. And it was a great time talking to you.
Absolutely. Good to meet you too, man.
Thanks, Alex. Before we hop into our last one, we have a few people in the comments asking Matt, any cool Undertaker stories?
I mean, yeah, honestly, the Undertaker, the one time I actually am extremely lucky to actually got to work with him, as many saw in that first big Saudi Arabia show that WWE did. There was a casket match with Rusev, and then I got to be a part of. It's just, it's funny. It's this huge show. It's almost a WrestleMania like show, and all day long, besides getting spooked the hell out for having to get thrown into a casket because I'm claustrophobic as all hell. I remember Rusev was like putting this, we knew it wasn't going to be a crazy complicated match. It's The Undertaker. He does what he does, but like all day long, I think Rusev's told the story too of just like, I didn't know what we were going to do. And like, this is like a WrestleMania imagine. Like Taker's he's sitting in his locker room. He's just getting himself warmed up. He's got a whole routine. And then it's just funny because when you're young in this business, you sit together putting a 5-minute match together for 4 hours. And here's The Undertaker, who's got like this 15, 20-minute match with Rusev. We go in there. We get like one chance to go in there knocking. Hey, yeah, guys, come in. What do? You do kick, that kick. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. We'll put it in a little something like that. And at the end, you run in motioning to me and like, hey, I'll give you the deal. And yeah, something like that. Like, we'll keep it simple. That work for you guys? Sure. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And like, that's it. And it's just funny. He's such a damn pro. And he was very cool. He's very kind. And getting, tombstone and chokeslammed and thrown into a casket in the middle of the Saudi Arabian desert. I don't know if it gets much more unique and cool than that for a young kid who was a wrestling fan. So that was huge.
All right, we'll hop into our last one of the night. We'll say hi to Dan. What's up, Dan?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Matt.
What's going on,
how's
Dan?
it going? Hey,
I'm great, man.
Nice
How are
to
you?
See you again.
Absolutely.
My question for you is, if Vince came to you and offered you a you get to pick 5 guys in a match with you, who would it be? Any 5, any era.
Oh, any era.
Yeah, any 5, any era.
Oh, that makes it even. I'm like, God, it would be tough to even pick from the current roster, let alone any era. Holy crap! I mean, so I've always said this. I would have loved a match with Bob Backlund. I just think I've met him. He's crazy but nice, but like just to see how he worked, especially in his prime, like back in his prime days, he would have been fascinating. Shawn Michaels, because he's my idol as a pro wrestler for sure. Honestly, Mustafa Ali, who's a current superstar, one of my really, really good friends, and I think is an incredibly underrated performer. So to be able to have a high profile match with him in some way, shape, or form would be amazing. Another one, Chad Gable. Same thing. The guy is incredible. He's so fun and easy to work with, and one of my best friends in the business. Also, God, I keep thinking of modern guys. Undertaker would have to be on there. You know what I mean? Just especially considering this past weekend. The guy is he's just a legend, and to be able to work with someone who works like that, I think you could learn so much. And then John Cena, because John was great to me backstage, man. He's such a good dude. He's so there for all the talent, top to bottom, willing to give advice, work with everyone, and had such a great style to him. I love the way he worked. And
I really thought you would throw your wife's dad in there.
Oh God!
I just would think. I think that would be. I don't know.
That
To
goes
me, that
without
would be
saying.
like,
I mean, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, that would be. I could just imagine. I mean, that would just be the greatest. I mean, for you and just him in general. I mean, Eddie was great. I really liked your style. I still do. You bring back that old type 1900s wrestling boxing style, and I love that. I love the uppercuts. I love that. And I think those two clashing would be great. The high flying, you hit that uppercut when he comes off, boom. Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh my God, I can't believe. Yeah, that goes to me. That always goes without saying. 110%, man.
Yeah, that's a WrestleMania one right there. And
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for doing this. And Jacob, thank you for bringing him on. I got to let you know that I do have it. The Drama Club
that in the
shirt
back.
right there,
Hell yes.
baby. Oh, yeah. I got to have it
Damn
on
right,
the wall.
that Drama Club shirt, baby.
I love it. Yeah, it's a great shirt. Thank you so much for doing this. And thank you, Jacob, for letting me on.
Man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Where can everybody find you and where all those little hands are in today?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. This is a lot of fun. I love getting a chance to meet people. If you guys want to chat more, one of the most consistent things I'm doing now is I am on Twitch like 3-4 days a week, twitch.tv/DramaKingMatt. Twitter and Instagram is DramaKingMatt too. But if you are 21 plus or of legal drinking age in your country, Wrestling with Whiskey is my little kind of side passion project. I'm a huge nerd for whiskey and spirits. So just search Wrestling with Whiskey on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, things like that. Same thing. Basically, Drama King Matt or Wrestling with Whiskey on every single social media. You will find me. And if otherwise, prowrestlingtees.com/wrestling with whiskey to get all Drama King Matt merchandise.